Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at Subastral by Renegade Games.
Subastral is a card game for 2 to 5 players. Takes about 20 or so minutes to play, in which you are trying to play your cards to learn about the different biomes on Earth, trying to get as many points as you can. The catch is you need to get those cards into your scoring piles at the right time and in the right pattern to score the most points. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table. We'll come back and share our thoughts on it.
Hey there, I've got Subastral on the table here from Renegade Games. Let me show you how this card game with a unique scoring mechanism works. In this game, you are going to be studying the different biomes on Earth, trying to get as much information on each different one to score the most amount of points. But you have to do this in the right timing and the right order. To set up the game, you're going to make sure you have the correct deck of cards depending on the number of players, whether that be a 3-player game, 4-player game, or 5-player game. You'll include those decks to the regular deck that you would use just for 2 players. And you're going to deal some cards out here on top of these cloud cards that, as you can see, range from numbers 1 to 6 and form a beautiful panorama of the sky. And you will then include the end game card, a number of cards up from the bottom of the deck, depending on how many players there are. And as you can see, it has the same backing as the other cards, so you're not going to know exactly when this card is going to come up. And then somebody will be the start player. Everyone will have 3 cards in their hand. And let me show you what you will see on these cards. Now, each card is going to have a symbol on the top and a color. The symbol is just to differentiate between the different colors in case if you are playing maybe with someone who's colorblind. And the different colors indicate the different biomes. So for instance, this goldish color is the savanna, and this kind of blue-green color is taiga, I think. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But you're also going to get a little bit of information at the bottom of these cards to tell you a little bit more about that biome. And you'll have a number here in the top left corner, as well as some dots. Now, the number is important for when you play a card from your hand, because the cloud you play that card to has to match the same number. So for instance, if I play this 4, I have to play it on top of the 4 card pile, the cloud 4, excuse me. And when you do this, you don't want to cover up any dots or numbers on the cards below, because as I've already explained, the number is important for playing on cards, but the dot tells you how rare this card is in the deck. And also on the back of the rulebook, they've included a card reference to let you know just exactly how rare or abundant those cards are in the deck. So that's very nice. Now, when you play a card, as I have done here on Cloud 4, you have a choice to make. The first choice might be to look to any cloud to the left of the cloud that you played on. So in this case, 1, 2, or 3. And if you were to choose one of those clouds, you could take all the cards that are on that cloud, such as these 2 right here on Cloud 2, plus 1 card from the top of the deck, and those cards will go into your hand that you can use on a later round. And then you would refill the cloud that you took from. That's the first option. The second option is to look to the clouds to the right of the cloud you played on, in this case 5 or 6. And if you were to take those clouds, they would go into your scoring journal. And we'll come back to the scoring journal here in just a second, but first I want to let you know that if you were to play a 1 or 6, you get something special here. So playing a card on cloud 1, because everything is to the right of cloud 1, there's a little bit of a different thing that happens here. The rules are the same for clouds 2 through 5. If you were to take any cards from those clouds, they would have to go into your scoring journal. However, if you were to take the cards on cloud 6, you could choose to do either or. So you could either take those cards into hand, or you could put them into your scoring journal. And vice versa, the same is true if you play a 6 on top of cloud 6. Again, clouds 2 through 5, you would have to put those in your hand, as they are to the left of cloud 6. But taking from cloud 1 would allow you to either put them in hand or put them into your scoring journal. Now, let's look at how the scoring journal works. So let's say I take the cards from cloud 1, and I'm going to put them in my scoring journal. Now, this is extremely important that you pay attention to this because from the very moment you put your first card into your scoring journal, it's going to dictate how the rest of the game's going to go for you. When you take different colors of cards on a turn into your scoring journal, you're going to pick which one you want to put first unless you already have that color in your scoring journal. So at the beginning of the game, I don't have anything in my scoring journal, and I could choose either one of these two cards to be my first biome. So I'm going to just say that it's the subtropical desert, followed by the savanna. And once it's in your scoring journal, the only thing that really matters here are the different colors, the different biomes. And from that point forward, if I were to get any more subtropical deserts or savanna cards, such as, let's say I get these two later on in the game, then they are going to go on top of the same matching biome as such. And if I were to get new biomes throughout the course of the game, then they would go to the right here, forming new scoring sets in my journal, like so. And I'm just going to add this one right here. Actually, let's switch this up. Let's have this one be right here like so. And this one right here, this will help me explain scoring to you guys here. Now, at the end of the game, I would hopefully have more cards in my scoring journal than just this, but this will give you a good idea of how scoring works. You're going to look on the back of the rulebook, and there is a scoring reference there to help you figure out how to score the end of the game. The first thing you'll do is score mixed sets, and you're going to score all possible mixed sets. So what that means is you'll start from your very first biome, and you'll look across all the biomes that you have. Now, you'll have at least one card because that's, you've put it into your biome. So I've got a set of 4 here, and a set of 4 is good for 10 points. And then I'll go on to my next set, which happens to be right here. I've got 2 cards. And 2 cards gives me 3 points. Now you might be saying, well, but you've got 2 right here as well, so why not 3 cards for that second set? It's because I don't have a second card here on this biome that I don't get to count this card right here as part of the same set with these 2. If I had flip-flopped these and placed it right here, then I would have a second set of 3 cards, which instead of only scoring me 3 points, would score me 6 points. So you can see how extremely important it is the order in which you put these cards into your journal. And if I were to have another subtropical desert card right here for a third one of those, but nothing else beyond that, I could count that for one card in the set for 1 point. Then you count your 2 largest matching sets. And how that works is you look at which different biome has the most cards in your journal. And if there's a tie, then you always count whichever one's furthest left. So as you can see, I've got 3 here that are each 2 cards, but I have to use my furthest 2 to the left, which are going to be these 2. And you get points per card based on which pile it's in. So unfortunately, pile 1 only counts as 1 point per card, so this is 2 points. Pile 2 counts as 2 points per card, so this is worth 4 points for a total of 6 points when it comes to my matching sets. And that's how you play the game. If there's a tie, then you go to whoever has the fewest cards in their scoring journal. They are going to be the winner. And that's how you play Subastral. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one.
All right, we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Subastral and a little bit of what a gamer and a non-gamer thinks of this game. And so, Sam, let's start with you, you being the non-gamer. What were your initial thoughts on this little card game when you first saw it?
Honestly, it sounded a little bit confusing with the placement of the cards and the scoring. And you have to really pay attention to the scoring from the very beginning. So I was a little hesitant to play this game because I didn't think that I was going to understand the strategy that I would need to play it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that 100% because even as a gamer who has played countless games so many times, I really had to, walk myself through this a number of times before I even understood exactly how that scoring worked. It is a little unique, a little odd. And Sam, you said it starts from the very beginning. Yeah. That the very first card you put into your journal can dictate how the rest of the game is going to go for you. So in some ways, this game is a little unforgiving in that if you maybe make the wrong choice early on, it can really kind of, throw a wrench into your plans later on in the game. Now, does that mean, is it a bad experience in your opinion?
No, it's a great game and I did enjoy it. It did take a little while to figure it out. I think now, having played it once, playing it again I would definitely understand it better, and my strategy would be different as well. Also, as someone who's dyslexic, having to remember that if you, on this side, you pick them up, and on this side, you play them. I feel like there needs to be a little marker that just kind of reminds you.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is on those cloud cards. If you watch in the rules portion of the overview where I showed the components of the game, on those cloud cards, there are icons that show that on there, but they are pretty small. And so
I need like big letters.
Yeah, it doesn't stick out very much. And so that is an important thing there. But, all in all, the rules for this game really aren't.
It's a pretty basic game.
It's a basic game. The rules could fit on one little card, quite honestly. It's just the scoring of this game is so unique and so odd in that, you want to place these cards, the colors of these cards, in a certain order that, you complete the entire set, and you have as many of those sets as you can, but you want the most of those colors towards the end of your journal. That's just...
And we ended up getting the same score.
Right.
I would have gotten higher, though, if I wouldn't have had... I had 3 groups of 3.
Yeah.
And my first group of 3 was my first group.
and so what she's referring to there is our playthrough video, and if you want, you can go check that out by clicking the eye in the top right corner right now. But yeah, Sam's exactly right. She had 3 in the very first pile, and if she would have only had 2 in the first pile, it would have completely changed the score for her, and she would have killed me.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, so this is definitely a game that I feel like as you play, you can definitely come to master it and feel like, yes, I can control this game. It's a game that at first you might feel like, I don't know how on earth I'm going to do well in this. I don't know how I can maximize my points. But as you play it each time, I feel like you can gain a little bit more of a mastery for it. And that's true for a lot of games, but so much more so in this game, I feel like. Yeah. And for me, that's a pleasurable experience when I feel like, hey, I'm getting this. I understand it.
Yeah.
And I want to keep playing it more. So, fun factor for you. What would you say on that with this one?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. I think once you figure out the strategy and you don't want that your partner or whoever you're playing with to get the cards because you want those cards, but they want to use them in their hand and you want to play them, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. What she's talking about there were so many times in our game where, I had a plan where I was going to play this card here so that I could come to this pile over here so that I could come back later on to get the card that I just played because I really wanted it again, or I wanted it in my scoring journal. And unfortunately, that card was not there for me because Sam would take it. And I could see that happening even more so in the higher player counts of this game. And so that is one thing, that your plan is going to get disrupted. And so maybe you're somebody out there who doesn't enjoy that experience with gaming, that, whatever plan you've got going up here that can, just constantly be altered and somebody can throw a wrench into and adjust your plan, then maybe this game's not the greatest game for you. But for me, this was one of those games where, my plan got altered and it was like, okay, I've got to think of a new thing. And that was it was a pleasurable experience having to come up with a new plan each time. So, Sam, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate, what do you give Subastral?
I would probably give it a solid 7.
Solid 7.
Yeah.
I'm going to be higher on this one. For me, this is a solid game that I want to, take with me. It's small. It's a card game. I can play it in almost any space. Now, I will say it does take up a bit of a table space for it being a card game, but I think it's a 7.6 for me. Solid 7.6. We did our score, our rankings here before we did pros and cons. Let's come back to that. So, Sam, you as a non-gamer, What are some pros about Subastral?
I mean, I really think once you play it one time, it really is a pretty easy game. It just is a little bit of a learning curve the first time. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's not long at all. And
15-20 minutes.
Very little components. You're not having to learn what everything does. It's just cards.
Yeah, and and I don't mean to cut you off, but if I could jump in on that, you really have two choices.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's take from this side, take from that side.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Any cons?
I think really just being patient and really learning the game, maybe before you play it. But other than that, that's really it.
Yeah, I think for me, what I'll say on that real quick is that, so often when playing with a non-gamer, you really may only get one shot with a game. And what I mean by that is that you may get one chance to play this game with that non-gamer, and they may like it, and you might get another chance. They may not, and you may never get another chance to play that particular game ever again. And I just feel like this is a fantastic game the second time you play it.
Yeah.
The jump from the first to the second time is so big. If they bail after the first play, you may never get to that second play. So I kind of worry about that aspect with this game here, that people might be, I just can't wrap my mind around that, and hit the eject button before giving it a second try. So, but that is Subastral, Renegade Game Studio. Would you recommend playing it with non-gamers?
Yeah, I think it's a great one to play.
All right, so check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push the bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.